More times than I can count, I have found myself run down with a terrible case of analysis paralysis, stuck between knowing what I'm capable of and overwhelmed by the steps it takes to achieve it. It goes something like this. I get an idea and become so excited about it, like all-consuming, only to never get started or stop as soon as I do. We'll be unearthing the season before the bloom, the moment when you're still holding onto your seeds, the wondering if, once they're planted, you'll be able to manage the upkeep. All of that and more on today's episode of The Written Willow. All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm Dominique, and I'm excited to dive into this topic with you all. Before we get into it, I thought I'd make you privy to the theme that we're leaning into. I'm all about flowing with and embracing the seasons, and so naturally, it's spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, and with it comes renewal, gentle beginnings, letting light touch the places we've kept in the dark for so long. So we're leaning into that energy, the slow unfurling, the courage it takes to start something new, even if you're unsure of how it will turn out. I'd like to read you a poem I wrote that was birthed from that exact place, a moment when I held the seeds of my potential in my hands, but wasn't sure if I was ready to release them. This poem is titled Potential. I'm standing in my garden, waiting for the bloom, for something deep inside of me to take up all this room. I've yet to plant the seeds I hold, still paralyzed by doubt, afraid that if I let them go, they may not all work out. And so I hold them in my hands as if they'll run away, knowing that all I have to do is water once a day. This poem came from hesitation. It was not a lack of desire or a lack of clarity, but fear of the unknown, the gap between here and there feeling too wide. Loss of control can feel scary. So our natural defense is to wait because in that moment, we feel that inaction is one of the only things we can control. How many seeds, ideas, or callings have you held on to saying to yourself, I'll know when the time is right. I'm waiting until I'm ready. But readiness rarely comes before the doing. Readiness and confidence are like cousins. And like confidence, readiness stems from determination. When you're determined to do something, you keep at it until you achieve it, and that builds confidence. Readiness is an internal contract that you make with yourself saying you're going to commit to starting something. There's a technique done by top athletes where they envision themselves winning and the steps it takes to get there. They mentally rehearse the hard work, the sweat, the tears, the strategies, and it's been proven to enhance their performance. They're not just training their bodies, they're also training their minds. And so I wonder, if you gave yourself that same grace, visualized positive outcomes instead of negative, imagined yourself achieving your goals instead of falling short, visualized the consistency and showing up for yourself, the moment you choose to start, not perfectly, but presently, what would be your outcome? What would be your harvest? And no, you're not weak for feeling overwhelmed. Beginning is its own kind of strength. You know, I held on to the seeds of this podcast for over a year, not because I didn't love the idea, but because I kept replaying the pitfalls in my mind. What if it's too complicated? What if no one listens? What if I start and want to change paths and I get called a quitter? Can I share something with you? The fear hasn't quite gone away. I just decided to water its potential instead. And the more I show up, the more I water my seeds, they'll eventually blossom. And so I'll leave you with this. What seeds have you been holding on to? What vision have you kept tucked away because the climb felt too steep? And what would it look like to stop imagining everything going wrong and instead imagine your garden in full bloom, to water once a day? That's the end of today's episode. Thank you truly for resting beneath the willow with me today. If this episode made you feel something or simply gave you a quiet space to breathe, I'd love if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need it. And if you feel called to support this channel, any amount helps. You can find a link to do that in the episode description. Until next time, may the wisdom of the willow be with you.